Oh, Oxygen! What a great song! Love is like oxygen.
That's late sweet.
I know it is. I know.
Is late sweet.
But they people dismiss them because they put them in with the pure nonsense of Gary Glitter. Let's not talk about Gary Glitter.
Well, we could talk about Gary Glitter. I'm going to posit something about Gary Glitter.
Go on.
Right? Every so often you do hear a Gary Glitter song.
Should I just explain, again, for American audiences, Gary Glitter was sort of a novelty act. He did glam, he did Come On, right? And
well, American audiences know it because every time there's a goal in American sports, they play rock and roll.
Right, of course they do.
The bands play it at the college football games.
Right.
All the time you hear it. And you
so
think,
wherever he is,
so that
in
man,
prison, he's still getting royalties.
Yeah,
Paul Gad.
Yeah,
still getting. But I want to posit
something.
something.
We just explained what happened for the American audiences.
Okay.
Gary Glitter was one of probably the first and biggest disgraced.
Not the biggest. Savile in Britain.
Well, Savile was much later.
And that was the first, but
yeah,
not the biggest.
Glitter
Savile's
was like
still the biggest. I think if you're talking pedo scandals, Savile's still top of the league.
Yeah.
Isn't he? Yeah, Gary Glitter's like.
I even feel bad about
he's like
lumping
Liverpool. Isn't he? He's like fourth.
so Jimmy Savile.
Don't say that. You'll get Scousers calling.
I only mean in terms of where
I'm
the team
trying to
normally
explain.
is.
Basically, we're talking about people who
Pop stars who turned out to be paedophiles.
Yeah, paedophiles and things not quite as bad as that, but disgraced for some reason.
Well, in this case, it was as bad as that.
Yes, it was. Now, as I remember,
Gary.
Gary Glitter took in his laptop to PC World.
Yeah.
Something wrong with it, and forgot he had like indecent pictures of children on his.
That's
computer.
correct.
So when he went out of that shop, what was I thinking?
Yeah. No, when like the staff just having a nosy, they were saying, "Let's see what Gary's got on his computer."
Really?
And then they were like,
with mud from the 70s, and then it turns out it's a different type of mud on it.
Apparently the staff were having a nosy, just like a laugh. Let's see what he's got on his computer. And found the.
But I want to ask a question of you as a musician and you just as a cultural icon, which is sometimes with people like Gary Glitter, right? That happens, and their music in general, that's it. You don't really hear it anymore on the radio.
Sure.
But there are other people who say Michael Jackson. I'm going to use Michael Jackson now. Michael Jackson. No one absolutely conclusively proved anything about Michael Jackson, but you might have thought that the fact that he was known to have shared a bed with children and that he paid an enormous amount of money to that children's family so they didn't go to court might lead to him dropping on the playlist. But here's my point. Yeah. I think there are some people whose music is so good that no matter what they've done, that we can't really lose them. So we have to make excuses sort of for what they've done.
Yeah.
Well, no,
the truth is we know.
There's a comedian in America called Patrice O'Neill. He's dead now. But he famously said about this thing, Michael Jackson, it comes out, and people are going, maybe I won't listen to Bad, but Thriller, he probably wasn't doing it then. I can listen to Thriller.
No, that's the point.
Of course, Gary Glitter, forget it. It's only a couple of tracks. We don't need it.
Exactly.
We're not saying that Michael Jackson was definitely a paedophile.
And also, it's also to do with being cool and not cool, isn't it? Because,
of course.
Because they're very cool, because, we know as well that Led Zeppelin was sleeping with a lot of groupies. It's just generally recorded they were sleeping with a lot of groupies, some of whom were almost definitely underage. But most of those people seem to be all right with the fact they've done it.
Well, I think it might also be the fact that it was, someone was actually convicted, and it became, it was a point of law and proof. I think that's the other thing.
If Michael Jackson was convicted, you probably wouldn't hear so much.
Yeah, but then again, Bill Cosby, right? The most loved man in America. One woman comes out, 15 women come out, they're still going to his gigs. It took 40 women to come out, and people go, okay, 40 is too much. You know what I mean?
True,
okay. You find out that great artists were terrible, they were slave owners and anti-Semitic, and they, and all these things in the past. But again, time, it makes a difference.
But I agree with that.
Yeah.
I actually theoretically completely agree with that. T.S. Eliot was a fascist, but I still think he was a great poet. Yeah. But I think more recently we haven't allowed that distinction.
Well,
more recently, basically, if you're found in that kind of situation, that's the end of you being on the Radio 1 playlist. I said that, Radio 1 playlist, I don't know what's on that at all.
Well, no, and I mean
Radio 2 playlist.
I also think, because it's a current culture and an ongoing thing, that people don't want to play Gary Glitter songs because they don't want to think of getting that royalties and shooting straight off to Singapore or whatever.